So I am a student and a Philadelphian resident. I'm Palestinian by descent. Today is April 15th, 2024, and there's a coordinated economic strike, a worker strike, a student strike, a parent strike. Palestinians and their allies are coming out to the streets to demand accountability, an end to impunity, an end to aid, and enforce an actual permanent unconditional ceasefire. There are, I think, about 75 cities across the United States that are planning and participating. We are just one of them, and I think there is 4 actions today in Philadelphia.
Zionism will fall! Zionism will fall! Both of them have got to go! Resistance is justified! When people are occupied! When people are occupied!
So today's tax day. So this is an economic coordinated blockade across the state, across the country. So we had people block the highway. We had people block the bridge. There's different. I think people blocked the IRS building. You know, people are really engaged in making sure that our tax dollars don't go and fund genocide.
I'm here today because it's not only solidarity, it's the freedom for everybody. Gaza is on a struggle, and we are in a struggle too, because our tax money is spending in sending weapons to Israel, to killing the people, poor people, and indefense people, because they don't have army, they don't have anything. And today is the tax day in USA, and this is our tax money sending to Israel to still killing people in Gaza.
Resistance is justified!
We're protesting against Day and Zimmermann. We're protesting against the apartheid in Israel. We are protesting them because they send our weapons, they send weaponry to Israel. And we're protesting because there are over 30,000 people who are killed, more than 10,000 still in the rubble, and more than 10,000 children killed, and we can't stand for it anymore. Today is for an economic shutdown. We are trying to shut everything down. We are trying to cause disruption. We are trying to cause a pause. We are trying to cause a stir.
I'm here because, I'm fighting for the liberation of Palestinian people and people all around the world. I myself am from El Paso, Texas. I'm from the border city, and I know just how harmful having these walls up can be. I know that Mexican liberation, Black liberation, and Palestinian liberation are all intertwined, and so I fight for Palestinians the same way I fight for my own people.
We're here today to stop the genocide in Gaza. We are here on tax day to say we do not want our tax dollars going towards a genocide. We don't want our tax dollars going towards bombing hospitals, bombing schools, bombing children, bombing babies in Gaza. We want our tax dollars going towards education systems. We want our tax dollars going towards jobs, going towards social services. We will not pay for a genocide. We are here collectively to say that we will not put our money towards a genocide, towards the killing of children. We're also here to say, free Palestine. Palestine will be free within our lifetime.
I'm a Native American, and you know, there is this system committing genocide when they arrived to here from Europe, and now my people, my indigenous people, are living in reservation, and we don't have any rights. We don't treat as a human beings. This happened too in Palestine, and now in all native nations around the world, it's happened the same in Australia, in everywhere, in every place. That's why, as a Native American, I need to speak up for all the struggles that our Native Americans, and Native people, and Native nations are happening today from this system. Free Palestine! Free Palestine from the river to the sea. And the freedom of Palestine is the freedom for all humanity. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Right now, we are shutting down the streets, and we also have comrades who are getting arrested on the highways, who are shutting down the highways. We want to tell everyone here that there will be no business as usual while there is a genocide happening. There will be no business as usual while they are killing kids.
Today is tax day. It is April 15th, and I am tired of my family's money, my money being channeled to all of our tax dollars being channeled to bombing children, to bombing families. It's just not It's not ethical. It's not helpful. We should be spending this money to take down the walls on the border. We should be spending this money on education. We should be spending this money to help homeless people, but instead we spend it on bombing people in the Middle East. We spend it on killing Palestine. Forgive me, sorry. And it's just, it needs to stop. We need to end it. It's not good for any of us. If you are working class, it doesn't serve you either. It doesn't serve any of us. We might be convinced by propaganda that this is what the American way is, but it's not. It doesn't have to be. We should be serving our people, the people of our community, not sending bombs overseas to kill children. It's just, sorry, forgive me. We have to do more for the people of Palestine, but also for ourselves. We have to have faith in our community that we can serve each other, and we have to not keep letting our taxes being funneled by corrupt politicians to killing people. We need to vote uncommitted on April 23rd. Tell these politicians that they do not have our power, they do not have our money. We hold the power here, and let them know and make them scared. I mean, this is one of the many protests that I've been to. There was also a workers' strike recently, or workers' protest recently. Various people from various professions going out and protesting and telling them, no, I will not work. I will not give you my dollar or my energy. There's the Artists for Palestine that is doing amazing. There's Queers for Philadelphia, where it's all a specific queer collective of gay people and trans people who are coming out to support. Artists everywhere, like my school right here, Moore College of Art and Design, artists within there are making art to protest and bring a light to what's happening in Gaza. There's so many coalitions. There's Philly for Palestine Coalition, there's PSL Philadelphia. There's so many places that are protesting and saying like, hey, you know, look at what's happening, look at what we're doing. If you've ever felt any sort of oppression in your life, you know, whether you're gay, you're black, you're trans, you're Mexican, you're a woman, no matter who you are, your freedom is intertwined with this movement. It might seem like it's separate just because it's not happening on your land, but your freedom is intertwined with the people of Palestine. Your freedom is intertwined with the people of Gaza and Rafah. And it is more important now than ever for you to speak out. Even if you don't go to a protest, do what you can, because doing something is better than doing nothing. Vote uncommitted on April 23rd. Please vote uncommitted on April 23rd. I can't vote here because I'm from Texas. Do it for me, please.
I'm writing in uncommitted on the Democratic Party primary ballot because that seems to be the only way to get Joe Biden to listen to the people and stop this genocide in Gaza. People have been protesting, thousands of demonstrations across the country, millions of people out in the streets, hasn't done anything. So we got to send a message, seemingly the one way the Democratic Party understands, which is through the ballot. Today is tax day. That's, you know, everyone knows that there's like your federal taxes are due, right? But it's this federal government which enables and carries out the genocide in Gaza right now. Israel cannot carry out this genocide without U.S. support. They can't get that U.S. support without U.S. tax dollars, without our tax money, without our hard-earned dollars to fund this genocide. Without us, they can't do it. We sent over like 120 some weapon shipments just since October. That's not a country that can handle things on its own. That's a country that is wholly dependent on us in order to carry out this genocide. So the only way that we can stop that is to stop sending money to them. People have been out in the streets, in particular, you know, you asked about economic issues. A lot of folks have been organizing around the city budget. Folks like the City Workers Union, or organizations in a coalition, I think it's called Philly Revenue Project. They've been advocating for the city to stop doing things like collaborating with the Israel occupation forces and instead do things like invest in its people. This is the poorest big city in the country. We have a lot of needs. We have housing crisis. We have streets that are broken. We have not dealt with. We have the biggest. One of the biggest publicly owned utilities in the country, and yet doesn't have a climate change plan. These are all things that we need to spend public money on instead of sending that money over to Israel to commit genocide. If you live in Pennsylvania, the election is April 23rd. Please, 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 if you're voting in the Democratic Party primary, make sure to write in uncommitted on your ballot. Every single ballot, every single write-in ballot is counted, so your vote will be heard. So please write in uncommitted on election day. If you live in Pennsylvania, sign up for uncommitted phone banking. That's how we're going to get out the word.
Support for Palestine, especially for ending the genocide. it's larger than this individual conflict. Genocide anywhere is an abomination, you know? Philadelphia is probably one of the most activist cities in the US. Generally, whenever anything leftist involved happens, Philly comes out for it, which is one of the things I love most about this city. Just the fundamental wrongness of it all. I understand that the overall history of the Levant, of the conflict between what's now known as Israel and Palestine, is more complicated than a lot of people want to acknowledge. But what's happening now, as we all know, 30-something thousand people dead, mostly children. I just learned today, as the leader said, that I believe 1 in 5, 1 in 4 children in Gaza is an amputee. You know, half the population or more, I believe, 70%, something like that, or children, like under 18. Regardless of what you think of the events of October 7th, personally I find them like very objectionable, to say the least, like any massacre of non-combatants is. What led up to it, what Israel has been doing, what Israel was doing before and what they have been doing since especially, is horrific. Like, I find it not really hard to believe given human history, human hypocrisy, but it's just incredibly tragic to me that a people with a history of prosecution and being massacred like the Jews could recreate the Warsaw Ghetto somewhere else, like against another group of people. And for what? I mean, really, it all traces back to them just having happened to be there on that land when the Zionists wanted it, much like what we did in the US to the Native Americans. I mean, a lot of it does boil down to European colonialism in both cases. Like a lot of pro-Zionists make the argument that I believe over half the Jews living in Israel now are from the Levant. But the state of Israel and the Zionist movement was started by Britain. It was started by them believing they had the right to do whatever they wanted with that land after it was, after the Ottoman Empire ceded it after World War I. So like, again, it's just one of many cases throughout human history and the history of the West especially, of people saying, we want this land and we're gonna take it by any means necessary, you know? Just the same thing over and over again, you know?
Yeah, I think with the Uncommitted campaign, the idea behind it is that we are exercising our right as protesters, as people who are engaged in civil disobedience, to withhold our vote from candidates that don't reflect our views and our ideals and our morals and our principles. We believe that President Biden has abandoned his constituents, many of whom are from Philadelphia, a swing state, Pennsylvania, a swing state, and voted for him. And so the idea is to withhold our vote from all candidates. I think if anything, we've exemplified in the city of Philadelphia that all sectors of the city are coming out in support for Palestine, especially workers who are honestly the force of the city. They've built it, they work, they're exploited in many ways, and so the unions coming out and showing support for Palestine exemplifies labor as a struggle, as the underlying struggle for Palestine, yeah. Well, I think there are plenty of orgs in the Philadelphia area that are participating in actions. I know that the Philly Palestine Coalition is participating. I know Families for Ceasefire, Healthcare Workers for Ceasefire. You can find them all on Instagram via their names, their handles. This is just a call. As you can see, there's a lot of people here, and there's going to be people every week. I think this is a call for all people who are not currently engaged in organized actions to get themselves organized, get themselves on the streets. Whatever you do for a living, you can find a way to support the cause.
We were a crowd of merely 100 people, and we shut down streets. I want to